Hello everybody, welcome back to a brand new video on the Infinite Baffle channel. My name is Niall and today is a very exciting day because it's not every day that you get the chance to come across some groundbreaking new technology, and that's exactly what we've got next to me here. The brand new HiFi Man Isvarna headphones, the first ever headphone of its type, a hybrid design that features both a planar and dynamic driver. But before we do get into the video, I just want to say thank you for your amazing support on last week's upload. If you do also enjoy this one, make sure to leave a thumbs up on it, make sure to subscribe to the channel for weekly hi-fi content, and leave all your thoughts in the comment section down below. But yeah, the first ever hybrid driver headphone design from HiFi Man. Let's get stuck into it. Even with the groundbreaking technology that's going into these Isvarna headphones, those of you that are familiar with HiFi Man as a brand will see there's a lot of similarities from other models that have been really popular over the last couple of years. So starting things off with the headband across the top, which those of you that have ever used any HiFi Man headphones I'm sure will recognise, and also the mechanism for adjusting the fit when they're on your head. Again, pretty standard across a lot of their different models. But outside of that, these are actually pretty unique. First and foremost, in the shape of the ear cups themselves. They're pretty large, but despite the fact that they are so big, they're very lightweight, and the actual cups again have got this real, I don't even know how to describe it, like angled shape to them. I'm actually a really big fan of this design. It gives me very futuristic yet also industrial vibes, and I love the little vents that are on the back. In fact, they're actually quite large vents that are on the back of each of the cups, which kind of remind me of the rear of an Audi R8 in a weird kind of way. But yeah, they're a big headphone, they're lightweight, they're comfortable, which we'll come on to a bit more later on, and just the design as a whole, I'm a big fan of. I'll put some of the tech specs on the screen for you guys to look at now. As you can see, the Isvarna's coming in at just over £2,500, so unquestionably we're looking at what is a high-end premium product here, and HiFi Man are just fantastic at this. There's a reason why their headphones have been so popular over the past couple of years. Obviously, the sound of them has been fantastic, but the way that they present their products, it does really feel like you're opening up something special when you open them for the first time in particular. I mean, you look here, you've got the headphones themselves are of a fantastic build quality. The box, the hardback manual that it gets included, the cables feel really high quality. None of this is unique to the Isvarnas. HiFi Man do this with a lot of their high-end models, but it does still feel, like I say, like a really special product when you're opening it up for the first time. It's worth mentioning while we are talking about the cables that you can see next to me, the ones that are included in the box are a 6.35mm, a balanced XLR, and there's also the 3.5mm that's connected to the headphones sat next to me. So no matter what you're connecting to, HiFi Man have got you covered. When it came to listening to the Isvarna headphones, we tried these out with a couple of different headphone amplifiers, the flagship Yamaha HAL7A and also the trusty Unity Atom headphone edition. And I've got to say, both of these amps handled the headphones really, really well. I was super impressed with the sound of these. They offer this really open, airy presentation, but also give you lots of depth and detail. I was hearing things in songs now. I don't want to say I was hearing things in songs that I'd never heard before, but it was certainly bringing sounds in the background that were normally hard to identify straight to the forefront, and just gave this really engaging, detailed presentation that I was a big, big fan of. The vocals were really prominent and forward in the presentation of the Isvarnas, which is something that I really, really enjoyed. And, you know, we touched upon the background sounds coming to the front. Songs like Second Nature by Clairo are a great example of that. These little things, these little nuances that you hear in the background, which I knew they were there. But again, the presentation of these Isvarnas brought these right to the front and sounded great, and just vocals generally were outstanding, I thought. Even, you know, listening to a wide variety of music, whether it was the vocals of Emily Armstrong on the new Linkin Park album that are so raw and aggressive and throaty, they sounded absolutely insane. But by the same level, listening to something like Grandma's Hands by Bill Withers, very different kind of vibe, much more soulful, much more stripped back, also sounded absolutely outstanding. So I've got to say, on the vocal front, no matter what we threw at these Isvarnas, they did a fantastic job of handling it. The instrumentation and separation was also absolutely great. I mean, it's one of those things, I think it's easier to achieve when you're listening to headphones because you've got the sound right there in your ear, but you're really able to pick out different aspects of the music. And again, that level of detail and bringing everything to the front was fantastic in listening to something like Black Bathing Suit by Lana Del Rey, where the strings at the start, the kind of ambient sounds in the background and the build-up to the track, I heard to a level that I don't think I've honestly ever heard before, and it sounded absolutely incredible. The low end and bass was also super controlled, and listening to things like Kendrick Lamar, the new album where he's got this really synthy kind of 80s sounding bass in the background, sounded absolutely phenomenal. So in terms of vocals and instrumentation, the presentation and staging on the Isvarnas as a whole, I was incredibly impressed with. Just to touch a little bit more on that low end, I think the bass control again is something that really stood out to me. Now, whether that is because of the way the headphones are designed, effectively the way it works is you've got the planar driver and the dynamic driver. The dynamic driver is just handling the low end, the sub, the bass, whereas the planar is handling everything else. So whether it's the fact that the dynamic driver is there having to handle the bass on its own, not having to worry about anything else at all, whether that's why it performs so well, I'm not technical enough to know the answer to that, but it certainly does handle it very well. That's unquestionable in my opinion. Again, the low end being smooth, punchy. Again, that Kendrick Lamar track, Squabble Up, sounded absolutely incredible. The kind of synthy bass in the background I heard again. I've said this a couple of times, I mentioned it in other tracks, but I heard it in a way that I'd never heard it before. Another massive factor when it comes to any headphone is going to be the comfort, and I've got to say, these Isvarnas again were absolutely fantastic on this front. I think when you look at them and hold them, it's very different, because you look at them and you think that is a big chunky headphone. You've got these massive oddly shaped cups, but they're actually incredibly lightweight. I mean, coming in at just over 450 grams, using them over long periods of time, I didn't find them fatiguing. I thought the comfort was exceptional. With all that being said, I think they're definitely designed to be a stay-at-home headphone. I don't think you're ever going to be throwing these into your bag, taking them out and about with you. And some people might say that's obvious, because when you're looking at a headphone of this level, you're going to want to hook it up to a, you know, some sort of headphone amplifier, which would normally indicate you're using them in an indoor, you know, desktop sitting. But, you know, some people like to use on-the-go DACs, little amps that you put in your pocket, that kind of thing. But I just don't think the Isvarnas are suited to that at all, just because, again, I just don't think you'd want to be throwing them into your bag because of the size of them, the room that they're going to take up. You know, they don't come with a bag or anything like that either. So it's very much the kind of thing that I think is going to be a stay-at-home headphone. But for that job, absolutely outstanding. I've got to say, I thoroughly enjoyed the time that I spent with the Isvarnas on all fronts as well. I think the design and the aesthetics are absolutely fantastic. I think the presentation of them, you know, them feeling special when you first take them out the box. Again, HiFi Man always so good at that, and these Isvarnas are no exception. And most importantly, the sound, the listening experience, the comfort, all of that stuff is absolutely fantastic. I think it's going to be really interesting to see if any other manufacturers go with this hybrid design moving forward. If HiFi Man bring out another model down the line, I don't think it's going to be something that you'll see in the near future, but certainly down the line, given how fantastic these sound, I think it's certainly something that you could see a lot of other people picking up on. I mean, at the £2,500, just over, price point that they're at, they are going head to head with the Focal Stellias, which are again a really high rated, highly revered, closed back headphone on the market. So it's going to be interesting to see how they compete, but from my experience, they certainly bring something different to the table. So 100% worth a listen if you guys can get your hands on a pair. I mean, as always, we've listened to these at Audio Affair, where they are available on demonstration, so be sure to contact those guys if that's something you're interested in. But yeah, again, my experience with these, absolutely phenomenal. But at this juncture, as always, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below, whether you have listened to them, just your thoughts on the general design and this first ever groundbreaking hybrid headphone here. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on that in the comment section down below. As always, if you did enjoy the video, leave a thumbs up. Feedback is always massively appreciated. Subscribe if you're new, and we will catch you all in next week's video.